And welcome back. And we're going to continue working on the previous trace that you did where you used the pen tool to create curved lines. And now we want to show you how to use the anchor point tool to manipulate some points. So inside of our properties panel, let's click the layers tab. Go to layer 1, find the eyeball and click on it to turn it off or to hide it. Right above that space, let's click it to show that layer. And finally, let's just make sure that layer 3 is selected because that is the active layer that you will be working in. And you can make it active by clicking on it. Just make sure it's highlighted. Let's go back to our properties panel. And now you'll notice that we've got some brand new lines to work with. We want to manipulate. Okay. So to do that, let's go ahead and select our object that we want to transform. And we're going to select this big window here. And we're going to grab our pen tool, and we're going to add a new point right here in the middle of the window, here at the bottom. So I'm going to click to add that point, and again, notice the plus sign at the bottom of the pen tool cursor. It's added. And now I'm going to go to my direct selection tool, or press A on the keyboard. And I'm going to grab that point, I'm going to pull it down. Now notice it has a hard edge, or hard angle. Okay, there's no curves, and I need a curve right there. So how do we do that? Well, that's where the anchor point tool comes in handy. Let's go over to your toolbar, and you're going to right-click the pen tool, and you're going to choose anchor point tool. And again, notice the shortcut, Shift-C on the keyboard. All right, so we're going to select that. Now, what this will do is that if you have a hard angle point, okay, like this one is, you can click on it and drag, click and drag out handles to make it a curved point. Okay, so I'm just going to click and drag it out to somewhat match. Boom. And now if you have a curved point, you can always convert it to a hard-edged point by just clicking once on it. Okay, it reverts back to that hard angle. So again, let me click and drag out that curve. Okay. Now, something I wanted to show you earlier that a lot of times if you're working with this tool and you want to affect one side of the curve without affecting the other, because as you know, whenever you're using the direct selection tool, if you go up, notice what it does to the other side. It has this adverse effect. Okay, and press Ctrl Z to undo that. But if I have the anchor point selection tool selected, watch what happens when I click and drag on the curved handle point on the right. It only affects that single curve. Okay, so this way I can manipulate one side without manipulating the other. And again, I'm going to press A to select the anchor point. Then I'm going to press Shift-C to convert to my anchor point tool. I'm going to click and just drag on that point. So again, I can control each side independently by using the anchor point tool. All right, so let's go to our small window. I'm going to press A on the keyboard to go to my direct selection tool. I'm going to select the smaller window anywhere on the path. Again, I'm selecting the outline because it only has a stroke and no fill. I'm going to go to my pen tool by pressing P on the keyboard. I'm going to add a point. I'm going to press A to go back to my direct selection tool. I'm going to grab that point. I'm going to pull it down. And then I'm going to press Shift-C to go to my anchor point tool. Then I'm going to click on this hard-edged point, and I'm going to click and drag out the curve handles. Okay, wrong way, so let's go back the other way. There we go. To match the curves underneath it. Again, not bad. And if I needed to adjust them, again, I can always go back to my direct selection tool, press A on the keyboard, and again, I can manipulate them just like we did in the previous tutorial. Let's come over here to the bumper. All right, so I'm going to select the outline of the car so we can manipulate it. I'm going to press Shift-C on the keyboard to go to my anchor point tool. And we want this to be a straight edge. So I'm going to click this middle one right here to convert it from a curved point to a straight edge point. Now notice we still have two curve handles that are making this bow out. So what I want to do is I want to click on this curved handle point right here to get rid of it. Again, I don't want to click on the point. I want to click on the curved handle just to get rid of this one side. So I'm going to click on that. Notice how it goes away. But we still got to deal with this curve right here. So go back to your direct selection tool, press A on the keyboard, select the point, go back to your anchor point tool by doing Shift C on the keyboard. And again, all we want to click on, we don't want to click on the point because notice what happens if I do that. It totally changes. So I'm going to undo that. We only want to get rid of the handle. So we want to click the edge of this handle right there with the anchor point tool. Now it's straight edge. Easy enough, right? Let me show you one more thing while I'm thinking about it. Let's go back to our pen tool. Now, if you've already got points on your path, okay, for example, like this one, that you want to get rid of. Let's say that this car no longer has wheels, it's from Back to the Future and is now a hovercraft. Well, we can get rid of points by moving our pen tool over an existing point, and again, watch that minus sign appear. We can click that to get rid of it. All right, then we can do the same thing over here. And notice how it keeps the integrity of the shape. Now, of course, we don't need these extra points in here at that point, so we can just get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Didn't quite click on it. There we go. There you go. So now we have a solid line from point to point. So again, just another way that you can manipulate points on a path by getting rid of the ones you don't need. All right. Now let's scroll up. I'm going to press the space bar on the keyboard. I'm going to pull the window down. And you'll notice we have this Pac-Man looking shape. So let's go over to our shape tool, and we're going to right click the rectangle tool, and we're going to choose the ellipse tool. Okay, and we're going to draw a circle to match this. Okay. Now, whenever you want to draw a circle, if you just click and drag, notice, you got this oval shape. It's all over the place. The easiest way to do this, especially when you're dealing with perfect circles, is to click and draw a perfect circle from the center. So to do that, we're going to find the center of our circle, which in this point is right here where the mouth is. I'm going to click and hold the mouse button down. And when I start to pull out, notice that it's pulling out from the top left edge of the circle. So hold down the Alt key while you do so. Now it's drawing it from the center. But notice that it's still distorting. So while holding down the Alt key, I'm also going to hold down the Shift key to constrain it. So now I have a circle being drawn from the middle, and it's being constrained by holding down Alt-Shift. Alt to do it from the middle, Shift to keep it constrained. I'm going to draw it till it matches roughly the shape I want. So that looks good. I'm going to let go. Now let's go back to our pen tool. Let's press P on the keyboard. And I want to add a point right here where the mouth is and right here. So making sure that I have the plus sign on my pen tool and the path is selected, I'm going to click on that path to create a new point. Again, make sure it's the plus sign. If it's not the plus sign, you're going to create a whole new line. All right, so notice when I did that, it automatically gave me handles. Why did it do that? That's because the original path already has a curve, and it's just simply trying to match the curve that's there. It's going to be a continuation of it. Okay. Come down here, we're going to add another point. Click to add it. All right, so now let's go to our direct selection tool. Press A on the keyboard. Now what I'm going to do is I want to pull this middle point in towards here, towards the center. So I'm going to click and drag it in until it's at the center point. Now at this point we got some pretty nice looking lips on Mr. Pac-Man, I guess. So let's go and do a couple things with our anchor point tool. Press Shift C on the keyboard. Okay. And we want to convert this point to a hard angle point. So just click on the point overall. Okay, and it gets rid of both handles when you do that. Now up here you'll notice that we got two curved handles making this lip sort of action going on. Well, we can get rid of that by clicking on the handle, okay? Because if we click on the point, we get rid of the curve on both sides, and this is what happens. That's not what we want. So let's do Control Z and just click on the actual point of the handle. Now we got a straight edge. Now for this one, you notice when we did the one, this one sort of disappeared. That's okay. Press A on your keyboard, select the point. To bring up the curve handles, press Shift C to go back to your anchor point tool. and click that point. Easy enough. So just a couple different ways that you can manipulate curved points using the anchor point tool.